Hello, friends, and welcome to the Monday Show. Number 4, your favorite VR show. My favorite VR show. Roots, is it your favorite VR show?
Hell yeah, dude! This is what I love about doing what we do is talking about the games and what
That's
we
what,
what we played.
and that's exactly what the Monday Show is all about. I am your host, Wes. With me, as always, Roots, and you heard it. We're here to talk about VR games. And this week, we're going to be putting in our first installment of the backlog report. And what the backlog report is just pretty much an excuse for Roots and I to attack our mile-long list of games that we've been meaning to play or meaning to get back into, but we just never seem to find the time. And this week, we both kind of agreed on one game. Normally, we would each pick one, but we both agreed that there was a game that we kind of got started in but didn't play enough, and we both wanted to play, and that is Trover Saves the Universe. Okay, so I went back into Trover today, and I still haven't finished it, but I did put a good long session in on it today, and I played through, I think it's called Shroomy World. It's the world with all the mushrooms, and where you have to infiltrate those dudes' castle. They're standing on top of the wall talking shit to you the whole time. I basically I made it to the part where they were standing on top of the wall, and then you had to, like, I don't know, should we spoil it? We probably shouldn't spoil it. Should we, like, how to solve puzzles and shit?
Yeah, you pretty much just do the wall stuff there. You know, we won't go into detail, but yeah.
Yeah, they told me I was a racist for doing that.
Well, that's 2019. You're racist for everything. So
The definition of the action that I was doing is being a racist. They told me they went to college and that I was just a fucking racist.
oh,
And
wow.
I killed them for it. And the object of the level was to kill a bunch of these clones and put their guts into a cauldron. You need that to take to the abstainers. But you have to lure them out first. So the way I lured them out is by telling them that there were reruns of the Golden Girls, and they all came running out for that. I slaughtered them with my lightsaber.
Oh God.
And you're right. This game is nuts, dude.
Who would have thought of that? Reruns of the Golden Girls, right?
Somebody who watches reruns of the Golden Girls.
Yeah. You know,
Most
who doesn't,
likely.
right?
Anyway, I took the cauldron of guts to this, what was it, voodoo person. And from there, person told me I needed to go free some villagers because they were cursed. And I needed to kill them so that they could be free. And I went to this village, and it seemed like a pretty peaceful village, but I did as I was bid and slaughtered the entire village, and then went back to the voodoo person, collected my cauldron, and then I went to the abstainers. But on the way to the abstainers, what's the villain's name, Roots? What's that guy's name?
I can't remember what his name is. I don't know.
The villain stopped me on the way back to the abstainers, told me I was a stupid piece of shit, told me I was never going to get my dogs back out of his eyeballs, and he's keeping them there because it hurts them, and it feels so good to him. And then he placed a bomb, and the bomb was that stupid puzzle from the first level, which once again I didn't have to solve. I ended up just kicking it out the door, and it blew up. I went back to the abstainers, and they had these crystal babies that they wanted me to put into their eye sockets. I guess they can't do it themselves, but it was kind of, they made these sensual noises as I was putting it in there. It made me feel really uncomfortable, if I'm being honest about it. But only 2 of them could do it. The other one wanted to wait for some reason. He didn't want. I tried to spread the crystal babies all around. They wouldn't let me do that. But anyway, that was the section of the game I played through. Basically more of the same, just hilarious dialogue. I mean, the hack and slash action gaming is sufficient. It's fun. The platforming is above average. It's really good platforming. But again, the whole joy in playing this game is in the dialogue. Roots, I think that I could probably just be entertained if I just had a voice track, just the audio track from this game, and just listen to all the shit they say. I think I would just lay and laugh my ass off. What about you? Do you think that obviously it wouldn't be as entertaining, but I think it would be entertaining just to sit and listen to this stuff.
Oh yeah, just some of the stuff you're saying is just remembering it. It's hilarious. You know, I didn't have as much luck as you did as far as getting further in the game. I have been as far as you have. I think I've been a little bit further. And so I wanted to check out Jopo, and I saw that you can toggle it on, but I thought, you know, I want to experience the full Jopo experience, right? And first off, I've been calling it Jopo, but it's clearly Jopo. And so I just went to click to play it with it, and I had to restart, and so I restarted, and ain't shit different about Jopo. He looks different, and then it's the exact same dialogue, except for any time that anybody said Trover's name, it would be like a voiceover, and it just say Jopo, and it was just, I was like, oh man. But it was cool though. I did get an opportunity to rectify a couple things. One, I didn't kill that guy's pets, and now he's my friend. I went up, I saw him on the next ledge up, and he was really cool to me. He loved me, and I felt good. I always felt guilty about that decision about slaughtering his pets. And then the second thing is I decided to kill that fucker that spit on me and side with the guy on his house. I pushed the rock on the other dude's house and got my crystal from dude up top there, a giant guy. I can't remember his name right now. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool to go back in and do things a little differently, and it was cool that I had the options. Didn't really change the game, but I was very, very, very extremely let down with Jopo because I don't care what he looks like. I wanted new dialogue. I thought, okay, they're bringing a whole new dialogue track, and it seemed lazy to me, or if not lazy, just pointless. You know,
it's a joke. It's exactly what it is. These guys are playing a joke on us.
Yeah, and, bastards.
Better you than me.
They made me start over.
Which actually, I wouldn't mind playing through the first level again, because I missed some of those green power babies. And only in the first level, though. I've got all the other ones since then. I've gotten pretty good at collecting those green power babies. But I wouldn't mind playing it over again. But I thought that I would finish it with Trover before I toggled on the Jopo, because I had a feeling that was going to be what happened, that it was going to make you start all over again if you did that. And,
well, you should have warned me. No, just kidding. At least one of us did it, because I wanted to see. But I don't know. Do you think there really is a secret special thing for collecting all the babies? I mean, he makes a big point about it, trying to remind you, and really bitches and really talks about wanting to get high and how I'm the reason he can't do it. And it's kind of creepy, actually. But do you think there's some kind of special thing you get?
You'll get an achievement for it, I'm sure. And it also has a practical use, of course. When you, the more of those you collect, the higher Trover's health bar gets. Like after you reach certain thresholds, you get another health container added into the health bar. So they're good for that. It keeps you from getting killed. Not that it's that hard to keep from getting killed anyway, but
yeah.
I imagine that there'll probably be some funny line of dialogue when you get them all.
You played it with gamepad, correct?
No, I played it with the motion controllers.
Did you? Yeah, because I'm watching this gameplay here, and I didn't this time, and I didn't like it. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because it's VR. I want to see if I move my controller, I want my controller to move. I don't want it to sit in my lap. That just really bothered me. I don't care if I can turn it perfectly or not. I just it just was subtle, but it just was a reminder that I'm in VR, you know?
Yeah, if you were to play this game with a gamepad on PC, the gamepad wouldn't be tracked at all. The only way to get that kind of tracked gamepad experience would be to play it on PS4.
Right. Yeah. So I think when I go back in and actually finish it, I'm gonna do it with the touch.
So coming soon to a Monday show near you, Trover Saves the Universe discussion part 2,
Yeah.
maybe part 3, depending on how far we have to go here. I'm not quite sure how long this game is, but I don't feel like I'm halfway through it yet. Anyway, it's a load of fun. It's hilarious. I laughed out loud, and that doesn't happen often these days. It takes something to make me laugh out loud, and I did many times today when I was playing this.
Yeah. I killed that guy. I feel bad. He's so nice, you know. He's creepy, right? He's a creepo.
He keeps that crystal up his ass, dude.
Yeah, and he's a pervert, and he doesn't peek in people's windows and stuff.
He does. He peeps. He absolutely does.
Yeah.
So screw that guy. I was going to kill him anyway, and then
They talk you out of it.
the dude throws shit in your face, and
I had some real restraint, Wes. I had to really because I wanted to kill this guy, and he threw shit in my face. He insulted me like several times, and I almost killed him. And then I thought, no, I came here to kill the other guy, and I'm gonna get it done. Only because Jopo was with me. I wanted to impress him. So, but,
Jopo.
yeah,
Jopo has the same voice and everything, huh?
yeah, everything's the same. So a little bit disappointed, but
Joke's on you, sucker.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on from Trover, we'll come back to Trover as we finish the game. It's fun to talk about and just relive these hilarious scenes in your mind, so I'm sure we'll come back to it later. The other game Ruuts and I both played, and the reason why we didn't pick 2 backlog games is because we've had Touring Karts. We've had access to it for a few weeks now, and I guess technically it is a backlog game because it's just been sitting there. At least for me, I hadn't actually tried it yet until this week. But Touring Karts, for those of you who don't know, is from Ivanovich Games. It just released into early access on the Oculus Store, and this coming week, probably tomorrow, by the time you're seeing this, this Tuesday, it will release in early access on Steam. It's a Mario Kart style kart racer. Multiplayer not available on it yet, but I think as this game goes into early access on Steam, they're going to open up multiplayer on it for testing. So looking forward to that. Ruuts, I know you spent a lot of time in Touring Karts. What are your impressions?
Well, my impressions so far is I really am amazed by it. I know a lot of people are cautious and they're saying, they want to be reserved because it is early access, and there are things that they, I guess they don't like the lengths of the courses or the basicness as far as the turns or whatever. But most of the people that I've heard say that have probably never even gone. There's like 22 tracks, and I've gotten into 6 of them, and they're starting to get really curvy and really crazy. So I don't know, man. I feel like this is the closest thing to Mario Kart, and in a lot of ways I think it's almost better than Mario Kart because obviously it's in VR, and then there's just so much shit to it, man. There's so many things you can do, the upgrades, the cars, the abilities you unlock, like combinations where you get a combo for different things where you can now throw a monkey that's throwing bananas at the first 3 top people. Like there's just so many different variables. A red flaming chicken, this developer really took a lot of time to make it like Mario Kart, but different and unique at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely its own game, and I'd say more than anything, the progression systems in this game are what really impressed me. There is a lot of content here. There's a
Look at all
lot of
those
different
tracks.
tracks. There are a lot of different abilities, a lot of different cars, and everything has a progression system associated with it. Your abilities, there's already like a ton of different abilities, but you can combine them for new abilities. Your car, you earn money for the races and things, as well as XP, and you use that stuff to upgrade your character and your car and just everything. Everything's upgradable, and not just by a little bit, by a lot. And it seems like this game has been in development for a very long time.
Yeah. And what this game has, and I was telling you this earlier, like, this is a contender for me for Audica. I went back into Audica today and attacked a couple of tracks that people had gotten ahead of me in, and I pulled ahead, and I don't know that this. I started feeling I don't know if this game can pull ahead of Audica, but I'll tell you what, it's right on its ass, man. This game was so fun for me, and when multiplayer comes out, I'll really know for sure where it stands as far as my game of the year. But anybody that loves Mario Kart, you're in first place, and then all of a sudden everything goes wrong. You're hit by something, then something else hits you, and all of a sudden you're shrunk and smashed, and like this has all of it. I don't know how many times I was in first place, and all of a sudden I'm last, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? It's just so good.
Yeah, it definitely has that Mario Kart feel to it when you're in there racing. Um, it's kind of odd. I felt like the first time that I raced in it, the game felt really fast, like almost too fast. But after I got into it, it really slowed down a lot, and it became a lot easier to play. Um, the one complaint that I had about the gameplay with it, though, and I don't know, it may have just been me, but they've got the menu set up to come up when you click the thumbstick in, the left thumbstick, and it's the same thumbstick you use to steer your car. These are, for the record, these are gamepad style controls with it. Even though you're using your motion controllers, it's all buttons and sticks. You're not literally holding your wheel and steering, but you're steering with your left stick. And I pushed that thing in no less than 30 times today. Are you having the same issue, Roots?
No, because well, for one, I took their recommendation and I used the gamepad. They recommend using a traditional gamepad, or which is cool for people like Alex and other people like Chris and stuff that have the steering wheel. You can use the wheel and you can use your touch controller to actually grab up and grab stuff. So those are the two recommendations. I never had my menu come up, so I don't know. Or not that I realized, but I don't know.
Or you would have realized you're in the heat of a race, and then all of a sudden the pause screen comes up, and you have to click continue. It doesn't mess you up. Everything stops. It's not one of these games that you hit the pause menu and the world keeps going on and you're just stuck. Everything does stop, and you can pick it right back up. But it just happens so frequently. It really, really annoyed me, and I really wish that they had put that function over in the other thumbstick, the one you're not using. It would have made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah. What did you think about the jump turn, or the turning, or the going around the corners, hitting the brake? You hold on to the brake and it slides you around, and then you let go when you want, and it shoots you forward.
Yeah,
and it feels so good in VR, man. That is the coolest. It feels so much. I wish it was a jump turn spin, then it would feel just like Mario Kart. But it feels so good and so intuitive, and once you figure out the right timing, I found myself sometimes like 10 seconds above or ahead of all the AI, even on the professional level, which was crazy.
Yeah, it takes a minute to get good at drifting. You have to hold in the accelerator and the brake at the same time, and then your car begins to rotate, and then when you get to the you know, parallel with the road again, you let off of the brake and it shoots you in that direction. And you're right, it does feel really good. It's a necessary skill if you want to be good at this game, especially in when as you go along and unlock a couple of the tracks and they get more curvy. You kind of really have to do that just to stay competitive.
Yeah, the game said at one point, I got to like the fourth or fifth race as I was working my way up the circuit. It said one of the tips was you have to be able to do this type of turn, and it kind of explained how to do it. And so it was kind of easing you into the fact that, yeah, you're going to need to do this, and you want to do it because that boost of speed is going to be the difference between being behind somebody or in front of you. And man, when everybody gets grouped up together, especially in the beginning, and you're trying to get by everybody, you can get some chaos going on, some smashing, people flipping over. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I flipped somebody over just by rear-ending them at such a high pace. They just kind of flipped over my car, and I just kept right on going.
Yeah, nice. Imagine that being Chris Gould or something, you know. Yeah, see you later, Chris, you know. Yeah.
I'm hoping that the multiplayer works out of the box. I'm kind of, you know how this stuff goes. It's probably going to be full of jank for a few days. I mean, it's only natural, but hopefully it works right out of the box. I think it's tomorrow that the multiplayer opens, and that's when it's really going to get fun, is when you have other people in here that you're talking to. That's going to be awesome.
That's when I decide if it's my number one game of the year or my number two. Because it's the only game that I base a lot of things, a lot of people base their game of the year as like enjoyment of what they enjoyed or whatever. But a big thing for me is like, if it's going to be my game of the year, it's got to be a game that I continually go back to. And I don't see that this would ever get old. Yeah, I'm not going to play it all day, every day. But even if I don't play it a week, I'm going to go back in and play a bunch of races, And I don't foresee that changing. At Audica, I'm already passing 42 hours, and I'm at 5 for this one. And it just came out, or it just got it last week, So, yeah.
Yeah, the game rewards you for that, too. If you want to go in and grind on it, even by yourself, they're going to pay you for it in XP and money. You're going to be able to upgrade your skills, abilities, and your car. And, I can definitely see this being something that you want to put a few minutes in every day just to continue to progress.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fun. It's like you get in that zone. It's one of those games where you finish a race and you're like, oh, I just want to do one more. And they're short enough to where, it's not... I know a lot of people like the longer races, but that's why you don't go into, I'm going to go into Project Cars 2. Well, shit, I don't want to spend 30 minutes in there, doing circuits or even a good extended amount. I know they probably have short races, but these are all relatively short and action packed. So, bananas flying everywhere.
Yeah, just awesome. Anybody who likes Mario Kart's going to like this game. It plays really well, surprisingly high quality for the stage that it is. This is coming from Ivanovich Games. Sure, they've got a few VR games under their belt right now, but this is even higher quality than I was expecting from them. Visually, it looks very good, even though it's low texture graphics. It's very cartoony. It's obvious that they developed this game with the Oculus Quest in mind. And that being said, despite developing this for Quest, we learned this past week that this game will not be coming to Quest, at least as of right now. It was declined by the people at Oculus. It was said that they did not fit the criteria, and pretty much that's all that was said. There was no specific reason given why this game was rejected. Nothing they were asked to improve upon in order to get it accepted into the store. It was just, as so many other games have at this point, it was just declined. and that's it apparently. There is an online petition to basically the purpose of it is to show Oculus that there is a demand for this game, that it's a high quality game and people want to buy it. I think that the petition is probably in vain at this point after what we've already seen from Oculus regarding this. But for those of you who want to help the cause, there is a petition available out there for you to sign. Roots, do you think that this is something that would add to the Quest library? And if so, are you going to sign that petition?
Yeah, I'll sign it. Dude, I don't understand. It makes no sense to me because there's not that many games out there for the Quest. So, I mean, they're games, but this, I guarantee this would be huge. You got people that are coming into VR, or a lot of people that have never played VR, and that you're throwing them into Mario, you know? And if you don't, yeah, okay, they can get sick. Well, if you didn't see earlier in my video here, there's a mode where you can play it where you're in a car, but it's on a screen, but you're in a car in VR, and so they could ease their way into it that way as well. And I absolutely think this game should be in VR, and barring any logistical or logical reasons or actual reasons, I don't understand why Oculus would shoot the developers in the foot like this and have them waste that much time. Like you've said earlier to me, you know, they gave them a dev kit. They spent all this time developing it for Oculus or Quest. Obviously, isn't influencing the Rift S version or the PC version, making it not as graphical. Probably, it just makes no sense.
No, this is becoming increasingly baffling to me. The way Oculus is treating these developers, something's not adding up here. Now, I kind of get the feeling here that Oculus, when they released the Quest, when they launched it, that they wanted to kind of emulate what Sony has done to build their library. I can remember back when all I had was PlayStation VR. It was incredibly frustrating because the library was so small and limited, and anytime someone would try to port a PC game over to PSVR, it would be endlessly delayed because the QA process to publish on Sony's store is so much more strict than, say, Steam or the Oculus Rift store. And it was always frustrating. Games would always get delayed time and time again. We'd have to wait forever to get these games. And at the time, there weren't many games. It was very, very frustrating. But the difference is that the Sony quality team would always give the developer specific things to improve upon. And so long as the developer came back with a quality game, they would publish it. Nothing gets excluded just on the basis of what it is. If it's a good game and it plays, if it plays well, it's not broken, it's not going to make people sick, then you can publish it on Sony's store. I feel like Oculus here has decided that they want to one-up Sony because obviously Sony's biggest crown jewel is their library. So obviously Quest would want to emulate that. Have another library that only has high quality games on it. But they're taking it up another notch here, and they're not just basing it on the quality of the game. Does it work? Is it broken? Does it make people sick? But according to them, they have this vision of what kind of titles they want to be on their store. So not how do they play, how do they work, but what the title is. And they're leaning on this as an excuse to just reject games outright, especially for developers that didn't get the game greenlit from day one. Apparently, if you want to publish on the Quest, you pretty much have to have a pre-approval before you start even developing your game. And that's why we have so many ports on Quest and not many exclusive, titles that are made for the Quest. But this is a problem we've been aware of for a while. A couple of months ago, the developer of Pavlov came out on Twitter and announced that Pavlov, despite being in a working condition already, would not be coming to Oculus Quest. It caused all this big uproar from the Pavlov community, and a couple of days later, the Pavlov developer came out in unison with the Oculus people, and they said that indeed it would be coming to Quest, that there was some miscommunication. It was all a big mistake. Okay, so water under the bridge. Fast forward a few weeks, Loco Dojo, a game that gets a 4 out of 5 rating on Oculus, 80% positive on Steam, rejected on Quest. Despite being given a developer kit, Loco Dojo not coming to Quest. Fast forward a few more weeks, To the Top. This is a very popular game. Most people that play To the Top love To the Top, myself included. 4 out of 5 on Oculus Rift Store, 90% positive reviews on Steam, yet not good enough to come to the Oculus Store. And To the Top developer being very gracious in not making their application available for sideload, which they could do at any time. They've tried to work through it with Oculus, and we still haven't heard anything else about it. I'm assuming that they're in the same boat as everyone else. Anyway, the list goes on and on. These are a few of the more well-known titles that have been rejected. 2MD Football, again, a highly rated game that a lot of people love, not good enough for the Oculus Quest store. So Ruuts, again, it's obvious what they're trying to do here. They're trying to be super exclusive, even more so than Sony. Long term, will this benefit Quest as a platform, or is this going to ostracize developers and make it so that they don't really want to develop for the Quest in the coming years?
I would be very sketched if I was an indie developer to do anything for Quest. I mean, can you imagine spending a year or 2 years and then having them be like, nah, sorry. I mean, that's it. You're pretty much, what do you do? It's done. And it's a lot of time, money, effort wasted. And it's the ultimate fuck you to the devs. And I think it's bullshit. And it's, whether it's good for them in the long run, touring carts, man. Like, I just feel like how many experiences or games that are people that have the Quest only, like gaming science teacher, gonna miss out on because Quest is just not good enough. It's too good for for these games, and people are missing out on quality content,
Yeah, it could be devastating for some of these smaller developers that, like you said, put all this time and money and effort into publishing a title to support the Quest, only to at the last minute learn that all of their work pretty much is going in the garbage and they can't profit from it at all. That being said, I think that this is supreme mismanagement on many levels from the Oculus people. I can understand them wanting to have an exclusive quality standard, only the best. I get that, okay? I might not agree with some of the games that they leave out, but I get it. What I don't get is the lack of transparency here and the lack of communication. Why wouldn't they want to talk to these developers and let them know why their game is being rejected? And even if they have to bullshit them, at least make them feel better. Make them feel like you respect them by at least giving them the time of day and talking to them about it. Oculus aren't even talking to these guys. They're just putting a red stamp on it, and that's it. And a lot of these guys, like Touring Karts, like To the Top, making quite a bit of noise about it, but not getting much much result out of that. Why do you think that Oculus would, like you said, shit on the devs this way?
I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. And you know, up until recently, I've taken the stance that Facebook and Oculus are separate, but maybe they're not so separate, because Facebook does a lot of weird shit too, and just ban this, ban that, do this, don't do that. There's no rhyme or reason to anything. So I don't know. As a company, it makes no just doesn't make sense to me, because I think they're excluding, like, again, if it's shit games, but I don't think, you know, they're even trying some of these games. That some of these games they're not even trying, but they're on the Oculus Rift S. So why is it okay? You know, is Touring Karts just not too graphical for the Quest to handle? I mean, it just makes no sense to me.
Well, even if it were, they could say that. They could tell the developer, hey, you need to optimize this more. It doesn't work. That's what Sony would do. Right. Sony would say, it don't work. The frame rate's too low. People are going to get sick. We can't let it through in its current state. Sorry.
Give you a path to fix it.
Right. They're not even doing that. So not only are they depriving the Quest owners quality games, not only are they giving the cold shoulder to the indie developers that have let's be honest, these are the developers that have kept VR alive for the last couple of years as it struggled to get its numbers up. These are the people who have been bringing us games. And it shows a total lack of respect for these people. And obviously they're ready to just move on with the next phase, AAA only. But it's really disrespectful not to even talk to these people. And furthermore, it makes zero sense, because when you have a game or a piece of hardware that comes out, like the Oculus Quest, that's based on the Android operating system, it's easily exploitable. The biggest worry that Oculus should have with the Quest as a platform is that people are going to exploit it, people are going to pirate games, and they're going to do so by sideloading content on it. Well, what's the fastest way, if you want to accelerate people into sideloading onto their Quest, what's the fastest way to do that? It's by taking all of these indie games, and instead of putting them on your store, have them going onto the SideQuest website, and then having people go through the process of learning how to sideload just to get these games. But now here they are with a jailbroken Quest. What do you think's going to happen 6 months from now when people start learning how to steal games like Vader Immortal and Journey of the Gods and just load them straight on from their PC? They're going to have ready-made Quest, to do that. And it's all going to be because of Oculus and the way that they're shitting on these devs. It really just makes zero sense to me. And it's almost like they're trying to sabotage their own platform.
Yeah, it just makes no sense at all.
I mean, I still haven't started sideloading onto my Quest, but when they turned away to the top, I'm pretty much was just been waiting since then. As soon as I see to the top available on SideQuest, I think that's going to be it. I think it's going to be the last straw. I'm already on the borderline because of some of the really cool apps and things that you can put on the Quest through sideloading. So yeah, you'd think that Oculus would be doing everything that they could to keep this from happening, but I don't know. It's like they're willfully blind or something.
Well, not only that, but it's just assuming that there's never going to be a competitor to the Quest. Maybe Vive puts out something that does let all these indies put games go on there, and then they build a library that you can play a bunch of shit that you can't play on Quest. It makes me almost hesitate to get a Quest. So what about that, Oculus? You're fucking your future potential sales of hardware as well for somebody that really loves your stuff. I don't know, man. It's bad. To me, it's very short-sighted, and a lot of things these days are short-sighted. So
Yeah, and think about this too. The competition might not just come in the form of different hardware from like HTC or someone. There very well could be an alternative store pop up, a place for these devs to sell their games through side loading, and whether that means you buy the game on your computer and side load it into your Quest, or it could be a store, an application that you side load into the Quest, and then you just go right into the store inside the headset and buy these games. It very well could happen.
Yeah, I'd love to see it happen, just because something needs to wake Oculus up, man. This whole thing just kind of ticked me off. And
yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've suggested that to a few of these developers. They're always very vocal, and trust me, I just named 4 or 5 of the bigger, more well-known titles. There's a laundry list of these developers. It's not just these people. There's a lot more, and they're always very vocal on Twitter whenever Oculus gives them the cold shoulder. That's the reason I know that Oculus isn't giving these developers any explanation, because I'm seeing it week after week after week. There's always somebody new, and lately it's been high quality games. So yeah, I've suggested to these developers that they need an alternative store, and they seem to be open to the idea. So I don't know if anyone's out there who has expertise in how to program these kind of applications, but there's a demand for it on both sides. There's a need on the developer side. There's a demand on the end user side. Somebody, if you see this, make it happen, because obviously Oculus isn't going to.
Yeah, which is pretty much a shame.
I agree. It is a shame. Again, I think that exclusive quality standards are a good thing. I absolutely, as frustrating as it was in the early days on PlayStation VR, I get why they did it. I see their library and how awesome it is now. But, enough is enough, and too far is too far. And what Oculus is doing here, it isn't just overkill from a quality perspective, but it's disrespectful to the developers that have kept our platform alive all these last couple of years.
All right, and let's be honest. The whole real problem is just not being transparent. If there's a problem, let them know. Let them fix it. If they don't fix it, then they can't get on the store, but at least you gave them a chance. Not telling them what's wrong and just saying, look, you're just not ever getting on our store is okay if you do that on day one, and it's still fucked up. But if you do it on day one, then they didn't waste their time. They didn't waste their money, their effort. You do it after they finish the game with no indication what's wrong or how to fix it. It just, to me, smacks of bullshit.
Yeah, it's constantly on my mind. It really bothers me. Like, I've been talking off and on with Blair Renaud about lo-fi, as you well know, and he keeps tossing around this idea of a prequel episode or something for the Oculus Quest, and I haven't outright said it to him, but it's always in the back of my mind, like, man, I don't know if you want to do that or not. You know what I mean? Because who's to say that they'll publish it even if you make it?
All right.
Anyway, it's ridiculous. Again, quality standards, good. Disrespecting the developers by not even talking to them, apologizing, giving them an explanation. This is bad. And it's causing, it's going to cause people to start side loading. And I think that maybe even be the solution, is being an alternative software store. I think is really what we need to do, and we need to push, and hopefully someone will do something about it in the not so distant future.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Anyway, with that said, we're going to wrap up the Monday show number 4. What do you think? Do you think Oculus is being a bunch of assholes, or do you think they're perfectly within their right and that these developers do not deserve an explanation? Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments down below. And if you've liked the video today, be sure to click the like button. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up with all of our nearly daily content here on the Virtual Strangers channel. With that said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and for Roots, I'm Wes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, friends. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.